Constellation, Last Stand Media's conversational podcast, is brought to you by you. If you want to learn how to support our podcast network, head to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to Constellation, Last Stand Media's conversational podcast. My name is Colin Moriarty. Today I'm joined by a very special and interesting group. I don't know that this group has ever been compiled on Constellation before. We'll have to go to the numbers. But again, my name is Colin Moriarty. Let's go around the horn and say hello to everyone. First, with Brad Ellis, that morning sun beating in his face. I don't know exactly what is this, the window to your...
Window's this way.
Right, to your right.
To my right.
Yeah, you're like this way and you're flexing.
Sweet. You got to get a nice side light going. My photographer wife would be thrilled.
We are recording earlier than usual, which is noon Eastern, but that means it's 9 for you. Mm-hmm. So good morning to you. Did you have your squeezed juice and your steel cut oats this morning?
I had a English muffin with peanut butter, and I have my cranberry juice right here.
Oh,
nice.
Very nice. Cranberry juice. Very New England of you. Cool.
Is that a New England thing? I guess so.
Oh yeah, cranberries.
Massachusetts is famous for its cranberry bogs.
Oh, really?
Right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can like wade into the bogs and actually just like be surrounded by cranberries.
I just love bog as a term.
Yeah, the commercials. Ocean Spray used to have those commercials where the guys would like be in the bogs.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that's where it was though. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they're grown elsewhere too. But it's New England always reminds me of like blueberries, raspberries, cranberries, just like things that grow in a more harsh environment, let's say.
Yeah.
It's good to see you.
But yeah. Other than that, I'm feeling real good.
Are you?
Happy 4th of July, everybody. Also,
today we're recording on 4th of July as well. I should have said that even, but who cares?
Yeah. Especially to Lockmort. Happy 4th of July.
Yeah.
Hey. Thank you. The same to you. I actually I'm so angry because I wanted to surprise you guys. So I bought like a big US top hat, like a fake white beard. And I bought two US flags, but they didn't arrive on time.
Oh, but
I have to wear them right now.
Send them back. Well, next year's 250. So that will be, just put them away. And that'll
be big.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
You know,
perfect.
Because this is kind of a boring one. 249. It's like, all right, let's just get it
or
over
more.
with. It's like the setup for a Tom Clancy novel where I don't even want to say it. There's gonna be like a big terrorist bombing on fucking the 250th 4th of July, and then there's gonna be some sort of unlikely hero that works at the FBI that uncovers the entire plot. Well, Lockmort, since you chimed in,
I'm sorry.
Let's hear from you all the way from Europe. Now it's 5 o'clock where you are, I guess, right?
It's 6 o'clock.
6. Oh, 6. It's daylight savings.
Yeah,
right? 6 hours.
Well, right. I think it's always 6. Isn't it always 6 hours? Or
I thought it was always. I don't deal with people in the Netherlands, but in England, it's 5 hours, I think.
Yeah,
or the UK.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. How are you today, my friend? Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. I'm very, very glad to be here. Congrats on your birthday, I guess, the birthday of your country.
Oh, thanks. I was gonna say I was born in October, so we're a little early on that. But yeah, the birthday of the country. It's very, very exciting.
Is that like that's like a big deal for you guys? No, is that like
it is? 4th of July is a huge holiday, but I don't know if it's just me and but I feel like it's become less in my life of a big deal. I think a lot of people are disenchanted with the United States. Yeah,
certainly pride of place was more common when I was younger. Right, there are definitely groups and people that are not so enthused about being prideful of being an American.
Yeah, I agree. So I used to really celebrate hard on 4th of July. That's a young man's game, but it is a great holiday. Well, it's good to be here with you today, Locke. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us. And I see, of course, beautiful Ellie in the background.
That's right.
Oh yeah. I just got off work and she's been very restless all day, but right now she's calm, so that's good.
Yeah, she probably missed you or whatever.
Well, I was right here.
Sitting right here from home. Oh, yeah. So never mind. She didn't miss you. Never mind.
She wanted you to go away.
That's a total lie. Rick Hoeg.
Yes.
From Michigan. So there it's 11 in the morning.
No, we're still on Eastern time zone.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Why did we had this conversation that we
have this conversation a lot, but in fairness, I have this conversation with clients and opposing counsel all the time.
It doesn't really make any sense.
People do not think that Michigan should be on the same time zone as New York.
No, it shouldn't.
I can't say I blame them, but it is.
It is a little weird. Well, all right, it's fair enough. It's noon by you too. How are you today, my friend?
I'm good. I'm excited. We love the 4th of July in Hoeg House.
Hell yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, the 4th of July is great. You know, America gets a lot of gruff. I understand.
Yeah.
It's a very imperfect place. It's a wonderful place, comparable to most of the rest of the world. And everyone knows that. That's why everyone is scrambling to get into the United States. Did you guys see that? It was like I don't know if it was Reuters or Ipsos or one of these. They like kind of compiled various polls and like a meta poll, and it basically came to the conclusion that there's something like 1.5 billion people in the world that would live in the United States if they could.
Damn.
Which is crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Because we have legally probably 320 million people here or so. So I give the United States, certainly as I've gotten older, I've given the United States more and more and more gruff. And I think it's becoming a weird place, but I still think it's relatively a force for good. And it's the conduit by which basically global culture flows. And I think that's one of the things that bothers me. But people can feel how they want about the United States. I don't really care.
Sure.
But the idea that we have no culture to me is always a fucking farce and laughable. It's like our culture is the culture you're imbibing right now. The culture of the internet, the culture of technology, the culture of entertainment and media. So yeah, I'm always going to be proud to be an American, but I think we are a deeply imperfect place as well. But I think that's the nature of it. And there's no other place I'd rather be.
It's always human beings, whatever organization you're looking at. Lots of news going on about companies and corporations. Same for countries. Still just people making decisions. I like to separate my notions of pride in America against the government of America. I think of it as a notion of freedom and liberty more than I do whatever the government in that particular year is doing. Whatever year you have, you're going to disagree with some stuff that the government's doing. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, no, I agree. And seeing that poll that was going around where it was only like 34% of Democrats are proud to be American or whatever, I'm like, man, this is weird at this point.
Does that have a natural flow for who's in the Oval Office? Does that?
No, I don't think it does actually, because I think Reuters has been checking this for many years, and like the numbers were like in the 90s for both parties, like in the aughts and the 90s. So something has radically changed. But I think, yeah, no matter how imperfect the country is, I won't have like a soliloquy for it or anything like that. But I am going to go hard for 250 because I've said this on another show, but when I was a history nerd since I was a little kid, obviously, and I was always bummed that I was going to be probably too old to be alive for the 300th, like the tricentennial, because the bicentennial was supposed to be pretty awesome if you were around. I wasn't in 1976, and then I was like, shit, the 250th birthday is actually kind of a bigger deal, because it would be like 1, 10, 25, 50, 100, 200, 250, 500, right? Would be like the big numbers in my opinion. And then you have these other round numbers. And I'm like, so I'm actually going to be alive and hopefully alive and cognizant for a fairly big celebration of our past.
I don't know
George Washington, Thomas Jefferson.
I don't know if this happened when you were a kid, Colin, but I know in my school, we tried to celebrate the sesquicentennial, which is not actually a number that I even know what was. Must have been between 200 and 250. But in elementary school, it was a big deal about the country's sesquicentennial.
I don't even know what does that mean? Is that 225? No, that couldn't be.
It probably was 225 based on the years here, but I don't remember what it meant.
Yeah, I never. And then the other thing for me was just July 2nd is always kind of July 2nd. John Adams famously wrote that he thought July 2nd was going to be the Independence Day because that's when they drafted the Declaration, but it wasn't fully signed and ratified and all of that. So July 4th is what they ultimately dated it. But you can read stuff where they were starting to prepare for this idea of July 2nd being the big deal, which is coul. So it ended up being July 4th. And yeah, I totally get it. You know, there's a lot of conflicting feelings about the United States, but yeah, we are recording on 4th of July. I have to go to the reason we're recording early, I guess it all connects, is because I have to go to a barbecue at Uncle Mike's.
Oh,
and so
Uncle Mike's, hell yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, and he just lives down the street, so that's no big deal. And so I'll just go from my pool to his pool, and and drink my beer. Go from drinking my beers to his beers.
I like that you get use out of your pool, Colin, because
yeah, dude.
Every time I ever looked at it, I was like, that's a heck of an expense, even though I'd love one.
Yeah, it was. We got it built during COVID, like early during COVID. The guys were assholes. It took way too long. we know they did it right because because the government, the state government or the local government comes and like checks it multiple times. Like, all right, we've built it 20%. Now they have to come approve it. Now we've built it. We put the walls up. Now they have to come approve it. We put the concrete in. Now they have to approve it. So we're good on that. But these guys were fucking douchebags. They cut a lot of corners. I kind of look at it and I'm like, I want to extract as many years as possible out of this setup. And then I'm just going to have this fixed. Cause like, there's just things about it I don't like. But the fun, as I've said to the audience before, the fun thing is that those guys knew they were such pricks and they knew they were so bad that they never came for the rest of their money. Because I still owe them like $3,000 or something. And I'm like, suck my dick, frankly, if you think you're getting it. But yeah, I get a lot of use out of the pool almost every day. Float around. I don't like drinking at home. As I've said before, I would become an alcoholic in 2 seconds. If I had no meter on me, I think drinking is fun and so easy. It's why I don't drink brown liquor anymore at home. There was a time when I had 70 or 80 bottles of bourbon in my house at one time, not in this house, but when I lived in San Francisco and LA, and I drank it all. When I stopped buying them, I drank it all. So people still buy me bottles of bourbon, including Micah, which I really appreciate. Like, before they know, and they're like, it's just sitting there. And I'm like, I can't go down this road. But the summer, I drink like a beer most days, like one beer in the pool, and just kind of float around, smoke a joint, and just look at the sky and marvel at how beautiful everything is. Because I love flowers and plants and just searching around. I was saying to Micah the other day, she was looking at me kind of like I was weird, but I was like, what business does the sky have being that color blue? It's beautiful. I just stare at it sometimes. I mean, this is incredible. We could be on Titan and the sky would be like a mustard yellow. Ugh.
Yeah, that would suck. Piss yellow.
So yeah, I get a lot of use out of the pool. Micah doesn't use it so much. My family uses it sometimes, but yeah, it's really for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was expensive, but it's the one I don't do anything nice for myself, really. Like, I don't spend a lot of money. I don't even know what to do, like, to buy for myself. Like, that was the one thing I bought that was really extravagant.
It's good to have one of those.
Yeah, I think so. Like, and it's a way, I mean, I understand fully that it's a way for me to recapture my childhood too, because I had one in my, like, it reminds me of being a kid in the backyard on Long Island in my pool with the we could even gotten like, fiberglass or concrete pool, like something really nice. And I'm like, no, I want a vinyl pool with like metal walls, So I know where it's all coming from, somewhere deep inside.
So we just need to run some ice cream men by your house.
Oh my God, dude, the ice cream man in the neighborhood is relentless, by the way. I wonder with the music, like, that must just be the sound of your life, even when it's off. It's like that ragtime music or whatever they play.
Yeah.
And it's like, Jesus Christ. And it just is on like a 7-second loop. They can't even have like a minute, like a real song. It's like, it would drive me nuts. Can't believe it. And then I look at the ice cream. We were saying this on Sacred Symbols. I was looking at the ice cream man coming by. There's a shit ton of kids in my neighborhood. So they do good business here, but I'm looking at it and it's got things like $5 credit card minimum and shit like that. And I'm like, dude, I don't think you could even spend $5 at the ice cream with the ice cream man when I was a kid. Like $5 would have been
unless you were buying for the neighborhood.
Yeah, exactly. It's like $5. But then I look at it and I'm like, how does this guy even make any money? See, this is where my mind goes. I'm like, what is the business of the ice cream man?
No, that's exactly what I do. My wife laughs at me because I'll be like, how does this model work?
I assume it's like, I try to get a good look at the guy. He seems like he's kind of younger, like, and I guess not younger, in his 40s or 50s, but because I always envision like it would be a good retirement gig if you just like your house was paid off and you have your fucking Social Security and you're just kind of dicking around and you're making a little bit of money and kind of just staying busy, like a person working at Lowe's or something as a greeter. But is there like a person really making loot selling ice cream? And my assumption is yes. Yeah. But you got to be probably in the right place. Mm-hmm. It's probably a high margin sort of thing, especially in the age of credit, because no one cares. It's not like you're using the like, oh, it's a big deal giving a $10, but if you're just swiping the card.
Yeah.
God bless those ice cream men out there.
God bless them.
Doing good work. All right, guys, thank you for being here. Let's get into the topics. Locke, you're our foreigner on this on our 4th of July. Let's start with you. Since your topic kind of connects to the 4th of July, but more about pride in country, but then about what if it didn't go the way you thought it would. So take it away.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was thinking about this topic yesterday because I saw it was going to be the 4th of July today, of course, and you guys are celebrating your Independence Day. And that got me thinking, like, most of my friends these days anyway are American. Like, I talk to a lot of people online every day. Most of them are American. Also in real life, I have a couple of American friends living here. So most of the people I know are American.
It's interesting.
And so they moved abroad at some point, or I'm talking through the internet, of course, with Americans too. But that got me thinking, because I live in Belgium, and I've lived in Belgium my entire life, but I'm not from Belgium originally. I was born in Amsterdam, which is in the Netherlands. So my parents and my whole family are from the Netherlands. But when I was, I think, 3 or 4 months old, my parents basically fled to Belgium because my mom's ex was a dangerous guy or something, and he was going to kill me or something. It was some complicated story that I never got the entire gist of. But they basically fled to Belgium, and then my dad started working here for the European Council. So to me, this, of course, has been my country my entire life. But for my brothers and my sister, who are way older than me, I'm the youngest, and my brothers are like 10 years older, and my sister is like 8 years older. For them, they moved to a foreign country. So they grew up here, and as soon as they were done with school, they moved back to the Netherlands. So that got me thinking. When I was a kid, I remember my dad, when I was 4 or 5 years old, my dad got a job offer for the European Council to go work in Moscow, and he was seriously considering it. So there was a possibility that I would have grown up in Moscow. And if I did grow up in Moscow, my life would be completely different by now. I think I would have different morals. I would have grown up in a different country, known different people, went to a different college, had different girlfriends, lived in a different environment. So my whole life would be completely different. And then when I was a little bit older, my dad also got the opportunity to work in Washington, I think when I was 8 or 9 or 10 years old. And he was actually considering it, but he didn't do it because of the kids, because my brother and my sister were about to graduate and he didn't want to be so far away from them. So I could have also grown up in the United States, but I didn't. I grew up in Belgium, and that's why I speak multiple languages. That's why I've traveled a lot, because my dad used to take me everywhere. He used to take me to Russia, he used to take me to the US. So that's why I have a different worldview that I would normally have if I grew up in the US, for instance. Because right now, where my life is at right now, I would have loved to have grown up in the US. I think you guys, because you were talking earlier that the US has like a bad reputation these days. And I think in certain countries it does, but not to me. I love the US. I think it's one of the best countries in the world, if not the best country in the world. So I would have loved to live there and actually help build something from the ground up, which is so cool, because that doesn't happen here anymore. All the countries in Europe are established. We have our monarchies, we have our governments. Nothing really changes anymore. So we're basically stuck in our ways. So I wanted to ask you guys, if you ever thought about what kind of person you would be if you grew up in a different country. Let's say you didn't grow up in the US, but you grew up anywhere else in the world. You can pick a country. What would your life be like, and who would you be? What kind of person would you be like?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I guess I'll go first and just say,
sure,
because it's a different question than what you're asking, but people often ask or kind of posit, where would you want to live? Or like, what would you, if you weren't American, where would you go? And like, my answer honestly is like, I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. If I had to, like, I have no desire to live overseas at all. I have no desire to even go overseas anymore. But it would be something like America, like, all right, Canada, like something, then maybe from there I'd go to like Australia, and then from there maybe the UK, and then you're just like bouncing, and then maybe eventually I'd end up in Japan or something like that. But they seem to be angry at foreigners these days, and I don't really blame them. Although a lot of foreign people are moving there, and you can live like a king in Japan on an American salary. So, and because their birth rate is declining so precipitously, they are becoming wildly open to immigration, comparable to the way they used to be, which was not at all. So, so there's that whole angle to it. But it is interesting, I guess, to think about what I would. When I saw your email, like what I was thinking of was what country I think would cater best to what I want out of a society, and like where I would meld best. And I think it is Japan. As a Japanese person, though, like, so Colin, but he's Japanese, something a little racist, perhaps. I would do it for you, but I don't want to do it. But you can imagine, and I think it's because I think the only society in the I'm actually quite envious of a lot of things about a lot of societies. There are certain modern iterations of societies where I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, really bad. But, you know, like, I watch a lot of travelogue videos, and like when people are in India, for instance, I'm like, dude, what the fuck is going on in this country? Like, no offense. Indian people are great people, ancient society, a lot of brilliant people come from there, a lot of great innovations and all of the rest. But it's like, dude, this place is crazy. Like it seems really, it doesn't cater to like cleanliness or order or anything like that. Things that are important to me in my own kind of life. And so I was trying to identify like the place that societally really focuses in on that. And it's probably an Asian society. It would probably be something like Japan. I would love to see what China would be like, not communist. I guess you see that in Taiwan. Because I think it would be somewhat similar. So I don't want to say it would only be Japanese, but maybe like a post-communist Chinese, or even something like South Korean, or just Korean generally. Again, North Korea would probably be very much like South Korea if given time, East-West Germany kind of situation. And I think a lot of that, you know, when during my visits to Japan, I've always really been like, damn, this place is kind of amazing. It's clean, it's orderly, people are polite and respectful. There's all sorts of shit bubbling underneath the surface. I am fully aware of that. Like, I'm a Japanophile, like a lot of people listening. It's like the one foreign society I really tune into because it is quite foreign to us. As opposed to Europe. Like when I went to Europe, I'm like, I've said it to the Lock before, when I would walk around Germany or be in England or even in a place like Iceland, it's like everything's half a degree from American here. The dumpsters are a little different. The fucking doors into the buildings are a little different. The garage doors are a little bit like everything's the same. Like it's all constructed the same. In Japan, it's really not. And I'm jealous that they can have that society. High trust, low crime, homogenous society. And I don't mean homogenous because I don't want racial homogeneity. That's not what I'm talking about. I want cultural homogeneity. And I think that's one of the things that the United States has lost. People talk about the United States being, I have in the past, it's like a melting pot, and it is. But it should have a dominant culture. And we've done a really bad job of aiming people towards the dominant culture. As I've said in previous shows, my mom's parents' generation on her dad's side, especially, were from Italy. And it was important for them during that era to be like, she didn't learn Italian, which really bothers her, but they didn't want her to know it. You know, like their whole mentality was like, you don't even need to know this peasant language from when we came over from Sicily, and we want you to be American and bring what we bring, but make it American. And I think we've lost sight of that. I think that's why we've balkanized so badly in the United States, and why you can even just see how, and I don't think it's a 0% chance in the future that the US would split into, probably peacefully, but into a Balkan-like situation in 50 or 100 years, because things are so geographic, things are so tied to culture that is outside of America and all the rest. Japan seems to take people when they do and things from the outside and make them Japanese. And so I think I would most thrive in a situation like that. But I think that kind of society and having that society takes work. And I think be willing to put in the work. People that care deeply about education, people that care deeply about family, multifamily homes, nuclear families. But again, there's all sorts of problems there as well. Problems of social isolation. There's a real social strata there of the haves and not the haves and have-nots monetarily necessarily, but in terms of aspiration, the ability to climb, the ability to have a family. It's very strange in a lot of ways. And the only reason I know this is because of all the reading and viewing I've done. It's not like I experienced it there myself. You know, they have the hikikomori. Have you heard of that before? It's it's like people that basically opt out of society. There's probably millions of them. There's like really great documentaries about them. And often they live with their parents until their parents die. Then they like kind of take over the house and they just never leave, and they never get a job and they never do anything. And they just kind of opt out of society. And this happens for like 20, 30, 40 years at a time. And I guess it's a product of the stagnant generation of the 90s, where the Japanese economy really struggled and really has struggled ever since then. And you've seen that more and more, especially if you care about gaming culture. with how much things cost in Japan and the erosion of the yen. When I went to Japan, the yen was worth 100 yen was worth $1, and now it's something really crazy, like where you can live like a king over there. So I'm not, again, I don't want to paint it with a patina of like it's a perfect. It's definitely not. But I think that that's where I would most thrive. And maybe I would be doing the same kind of thing. Maybe I'd be into video games and all of that. I would admit that Japanese culture is the one culture that I've somewhat in my own mind commoditized, but it has a lot to do with the people, and they're special. Like I'm not, you don't want to blow too much smoke up their ass, but I think there are just certain groups in the modern world that are special groups of people. And the Japanese, I think, are one of those groups. And again, I think the Chinese and the Koreans in different historical timelines would be fairly similar because they have fairly similar Confucian-driven, familial pride, honor. They all kind of share that. So that's where I think I would be best at home. And again, I won't do the thing with the eyes or anything like that to show you what it might look like.
Fair enough.
I hope that makes sense.
That's awesome. What you said about people, I don't know, what is the word? Assimilating? Is that the word?
Right.
Yeah. That doesn't happen here anymore, which is becoming a huge problem.
I know it is. I watch a lot about Europe, and it is becoming a huge problem there. It's crazy. Yeah.
It's not just refugees. It's like people from all over the world come here because in Brussels, that's our capital, which is the center of Europe, basically. And all the European institutions are here. So we got people coming from all over the world to work here, but they don't assimilate. Assimilate? Is that assimilate?
Yeah, that's the right word.
Yeah, that's correct.
So they come here, but they don't assimilate. And then they bring their culture here. But our culture, like I know people who have lived in our capital their entire lives, like old people, like in their 70s and 80s, and they just don't recognize their city anymore. They can't go anywhere anymore because the whole city has been Europeized, basically. So the whole culture is gone.
Yeah, you have to fight. You have to fight against that, and like I don't want to say what another country would want, but like I want a level of immigration to the United States, but we have way too many. I think in the United States in order to assimilate, because people would say like, oh, when the Italians came over or whatever, it was like way worse. And I'm like, yeah, it was. And they put a fucking end to it. It was crazy. Like what people were getting away with was nuts. And I think we've gotten to that point again, where you have to kind of stem the tide, bring over the right people. And it's not like people from certain societies, but the right people from each different society that want to bring a piece of themselves, but also contribute to something that makes, in our case, the American tapestry grow. Instead, I think I watch a lot of stuff about England, especially, or the UK, and like how crazy it's getting there with like, and I'm like, damn, dude, like with Muslim immigration and African immigration and all these things that are happening at such a degree with no even idea of assimilation, that you have these little pockets of other countries, basically. And I just don't think that that's good for like social, the cohesion of social fabric. I've always said it's not about your skin color or who you are. It is often where you come from that to me matters. But it because your society, not all society. I mean, I'm very open about this. I don't care. It's controversial, but all civilizations and societies are absolutely not created equal. No way is that true. People are born equal into those different situations. And I've always used the example, if I was born to a Somali fucking parent, I too would be fucked. But if you took the Somalian infant and brought him to the United States and brought him into the middle of the country and he was adopted by a family, he would be fine. So it's not about your skin color or something innate about you. It's about the societies and civilizations that we interact with and allowed to absorb. And I just think that there's a lot of incoherent policy and a lot of incompatibility there that everyone refuses to deal with. And that's bad. So we should really focus on the individuals and not on being like, oh, we want more of X or more of Y. Instead, it's like, no, we want more people that want to be American. And maybe that's what Belgium and the Low Countries could use too. I don't know. I won't speak for them, but I know that in the UK, that's a huge problem. And it seems like it's going to come to a boiling point sooner rather than later over there. And there are crazy things. Like I was watching something on The Spectator about civil war in the UK over this stuff, which is like crazy that people are even talking about this sort of thing, like being like, because I think some dude did a study about how it's that like I think his study said over a 10-year period, there's something like a 7% chance that it's going to pop off, which is like a material
Hmm.
You know, and I'm like, damn, dude, that's scary. So, yeah, I wouldn't want to be like a dickhead American and bring my Americanness over to Japan. We're assuming I was born from the roots in Japan as a Japanese man. All right. So yeah, that's how I feel. I hope that makes sense. Who should take it next?
Yeah, awesome. Hoeg, what about you?
Sure. No, I like this question because I love doing the thought experiment of roads not traveled, right? This is a little bit differently. This is your destiny was different from the start, but I love thinking about the small changes that can change big things. Like my mom was a first generation immigrant, right? Her parents were direct from Poland. And my grandfather from Poland was captured by the Nazis. That's how he became a big fan of America, is that America rescued him. And he volunteered to work in World War II for the American troops that were there. And like he had this deep love of America when he brought it over. But like when I think about what would my life have been like if for whatever reason everything still worked out genealogically so that I get born, but I'm in Poland instead of America, it would be a very different experience. And then I think about the way that I'm wired, again, as a person, right? Which is to say, I am, and I'm sure this comes as a shock to some of you, a bit anti-authoritarian in my philosophy. Just whatever experience I'm in, whatever environment I'm in, I don't love the principal at the school. I don't love the administrators at the university. I don't love the bosses at the law firm, whatever it might be. I just tend to balk at command and control. So would I wind up adopting the culture of where I am, or would I wind up being kind of the opposite of that? And I think of one of my favorite economics professors in college was born in Yugoslavia, right? And he experienced all of that growing up. And he wound up coming to America to teach. And he basically taught that, like, this is how not to run a government. This is how not to run an economy. These are the very bad things that I grew up with. And this is what you should know about economics. So would I be something along those lines in this question? And I think chances are I'd be somewhere in the middle. Like, I love my heritage. I love my Polish heritage. On the other side of my family line, I have a lot of Irish heritage. I love those things. I think it would be cool. I think it would be interesting to be in a little bit more of a traditional culture than America. America is still a baby, right? And you can see that all over the place, is that we just don't have that history of the long-lived countries in Europe or elsewhere. And I think it would be interesting to live in a place that had more of that history, the ghosts in the halls and whatnot. And I think that would inform my thoughts about the world. But I don't quite know how. I know I love America. I know my dad, when I was a kid, used to tell me that we are blessed because we're in this tiny percentage of the people on the planet Earth that get to have American citizenship, that live in America, that have this land of opportunity before us. And I know not everybody believes that here in 2025. I can tell you that being an American citizen and living in America for my whole life has been a grand blessing for me. It's made my life possible. I am very happy about that. I, again, separate the notion of America and liberty and freedom and equality and all those things from whatever the president and Congress is doing in any given year. Because like I said, it bounces back and forth. You're not going to like America some years as a government. You are going to like it in other years. But as a philosophy, as a concept, we hold these truths to be self-evident. I think those are fantastic things to have as your foundational principles. And I don't think my internal wiring, my philosophical stance on freedom and liberty would change if I were somewhere else. But I'm also humble enough to know that those forces, your parents and the society that you live in, can fundamentally change things, right? When we talk about that road not traveled, I think about, what if my parents were a different religion? What if my dad never moves from Chicago to Detroit very early on in my life because all the Hoegs are in Chicago? What does my life look like in Illinois? Illinois, Michigan, not very different jurisdictional governments, but very different life experiences. So I love this question. I don't have a great answer for where I would be, how I would change, but I do think it's very interesting to go through this kind of conversation and think about these things, because we are the sum of so many parts that we can't even fully comprehend.
It's interesting that you say, you're proud of, as fucking almost everyone is proud of where you come from, proud of your heritage, your Polish heritage, or whatever the case might be.
Yeah.
I'm the guy in my family that I used to be more proud. Like on the back of my goalie helmet, I had a shamrock. because obviously my dad's side is for many years, because my dad's side is Irish and my name is deeply Irish. So people used to say kind of shit like that to me all the time. So I identified it with a little shamrock, and that was fun. And the Italian side is a much more dominant side of my family. That's my mom's side. And that's where we grew up with those people. So that's why, even though we're only half Italian, it's like, we really just identify with that side more, just because we really had very little exposure to my dad's side of the family comparable to that, which is too bad, because they're great people. I think families gravitate typically towards the mother's side. As you have kids and all of the rest. But I'm the guy in my family that's like, we're not Italian. Like, we're not Irish. We should be American. Like, we are fully detached from those places, and we have a little piece of them. But even our little holding on to Sicilian culture, or County Cork and all this kind of shit. It's like, I've never been to County Cork in my life. We came over in the 1850s, the Moriartys, and it's like, it's over. Like start embracing American culture a little bit more. Because I always, especially the Italian side of my family, everyone's still, with the gabagool and the mozzarella and the galamad and stuff. And I'm like, can we fucking stop, with this? It's mozzarella. It's calamari. It's not galamad. Where do we even get this? And it's the same reason why when we call sauce gravy, and I had to purge that from my vernacular when I went to college, because everyone's like, gravy, like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like like beef gravy on pasta, like what do they call that? A beef stroganoff or whatever. Yeah, which is good. But so yeah, it's just funny to hear that, because I'm the grating anti-foreign person in my family, where I'm like, not foreigner, of course, but anti-foreign, where I'm like, let's just be. I even talked to my dad, like, we have the Moriarty family crest is really cool. It's a people can look it up, but it's like a black raven kind of looking hawk bird thing or whatever. Ooh. With its like wings splayed out, and it comes from Moriarty was Murata originally. I think we trace back to like the 15 or 1400s. I don't know, something like that. But like, it eventually becomes Moriarty and all this. And I'm like, we should update it and have like an American Moriarty crest that's detached from the old country. But no one likes that.
That's so cool, though. That's such a rich. Don't you want to go to County Cork and see where you come from? Then isn't that cool?
No, it is cool. I'm a history guy. It's cool. I think Ireland's cool. Like I like Ireland. I think it's a really fascinating place. Another place that seems to be losing itself, unfortunately. And there's so few people there. That's what I'm so surprised about. Is like when people left Ireland in those waves, the potato famine and war and the Civil War and like all this kind of stuff, they lost a fucking shit ton of people. There's like, I think only 5 million people in Ireland, which is like, what? Dude, there are more people. That's half as many. There are 2.9 million people on Long Island. Like, that's fucking crazy. So it's like I always visualize it as like this vibrant place of 50 million people or something when I was a little kid, like this bustling, and it's not. So yeah, it's cool. It's a cool place. It's dope. It's historic. Their struggle against England and the UK is fucking epic. And great history, interesting people, a divided people still to this very day, in fact. But, do I need to see County Cork and meet a Moriarty or something? Like, no, I'm good. Like we're different people. I'm actually, what's funny is that like, I'm much closer in proximity connected to the Italian people that we left behind because of the nature of the Italian side coming over so much more recently. And I'm even less interested in meeting them. It's like, it's like, we get it. Like the mafia mob, like Sicily was a fairly poor place. Like, peasants and all that kind of stuff, like that anymore, obviously, but like, I get it. I've seen Casino. Brad, we haven't heard from you. You're muted.
This is a good question, Locke. I like this. This is interesting. Part of me wants to say it would just be somewhere in the United Kingdom, because that's where like my DNA is mostly. It's pretty much all the UK. So it's hard for me because we've been here in America for so long. Like, no one in my family has ever been like, we're like how Colin was saying, like, we're Italian, we're Irish. It's like, we've been here for so long. No one even fucking thinks about that.
Yeah.
We're just American. That's just how we are.
Sure.
And
but wait, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but do you know?
I don't know the exact date, but I've been told it's like 1600s maybe.
Yeah, I mean, you might were the Ellis is on the Mayflower? I'll look it up.
I don't know.
Continue.
I'm not sure. But it's hard for me to think about living somewhere else because I, like Colin, I do love America so much and I don't want to live somewhere else. But I don't know. The UK always looked really nice. And of course, every country has problems. Like, I really like the geography of the UK. I think it's beautiful. Amazing country, or kingdom, I should say. Part of me also wants to do maybe New Zealand. I think is really fucking nice. I don't know anything really about living there or what it's like, but I just think it's a really beautiful country. And of course, Japan, like Colin was saying, I think would be really, really special just because of the people and everything like that. But at the same time, I'm thinking like, what if I was a fucking salary man and just like hated my life, having to go every night and drink with my boss?
Right. There's a
like
deep underside to Japanese culture that is dark. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
No doubt.
It's like, fuck, man, I don't know if I want to do that. Like, because the suicide rate is still very high there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all about competition and pride and family and honor and making it or not. And people, that's why I was saying these hikikomori and all these kinds of people that just, they're the losing end of that equation.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, I don't know. Canada, I guess, would be kind of cool because it's just kind of similar to the United States. Like I'm saying, like, I don't know what it's like to live in Canada. The only thing I worry about the United Kingdom is like, man, am I going to go to jail for posting a meme or some shit like that? It's just like, is this where we're at nowadays?
I have legitimately considered, because we want to obviously do a show in the UK at some point. I've been saying that for a long time now, but I have thought,
that's music to Locke's ears.
I'm like, I might get in trouble for going to the UK for the things I like, my political stances and the things I've said. I don't know if that's true or not, but like people do get in trouble. It's crazy that people get in trouble for that kind of thing there. You take it for granted.
Yeah.
You take it for granted.
Yeah, we sure do.
It's also a little bit of an exaggeration. Like, there's the stuff you guys see in the news that's like a very rare occasion where that happens. It's not like if I post something on Facebook that the cops are going to bust down my door or anything.
Right.
And that also doesn't happen in the UK. It's like a very rare occasion, and that's why you hear about it. But we also hear those stories from the US.
Yeah, of course.
Where stuff like that happens. So maybe there's some exaggeration there.
Yeah, well, I would take it from you more than anyone else.
Yeah, no,
of course. There's always exaggerations. Like
I get DMs from people that ask me if they're going to get shot if they come to the US and
yeah, exactly.
Come to Northville.
Same, yeah.
Dude, it's so funny. It's my favorite. Whenever people visit and they go to LA for the first time, they're always disappointed about how like dirty and shitty it is. It's just like every time, dude.
LA's not a fancy space. Yeah.
No, LA sucks, dude. I fucking hate LA. It's really disappointing. Colin, you would know. You lived there for so long. It's just
and I lived in a nice part of it.
Yeah.
Like one of the nicest parts of it, actually. It's a lot of people live there. A lot of people listen to the show from LA, and a lot of people love being from LA. So I totally respect that.
Shut up.
I'll just say I don't understand Los Angeles at all. Like San Francisco and the Bay Area, very easy to comprehend. Very, very easy to comprehend why people love it. What about it is great? What about it is promising? Takes you 2 seconds to figure that out. LA, I lived there for 3 years. I left even more mystified than when I came. So,
yeah, what is it about LA? The weather, I guess, that people love about it? I don't know.
Yeah, the weather's fine. I mean, the weather is oppressive in my opinion. Santa Monica was nice because we're right on the ocean, so you get that breeze. Yeah. But people like the weather. I think there's a cultural thing. I mean, going to LA and making it, there's something about
that's it. Yeah,
right.
Tinseltown.
Right. Exactly. Exactly right. Yeah. And I think that that's attractive to people. But if you you feel like, I don't want to say what other people feel like. Like I felt like I lived in the confines of a set there in some way, where I'm like, everything is constructed around this weird. Everything feeds off of this weird fake visual.
Yeah.
Bullshit. And I wasn't, beautiful people everywhere and all this kind of stuff. It's cool, but it was like the least relatable place because I lived in Boston for many years. I'm obviously born and raised in New York. And I lived even in New Hampshire and Maine. Like all of these places are incredibly relatable and understandable. In fact, I would ultimately want to end up back in Maine or New Hampshire or something like that as I get older, because it's fucking awesome. But yeah, LA, just not for me. But I'm sure I know a lot of people love it.
Yeah, a lot of people love it.
I moved there because my ex wanted to live there, and she loved it. She loved it. So it's like it's just for some people and not for others. But for me, I'm like, oh, this kind of sucks. I'm
definitely in the minority, I feel like, around here. Because people are like, oh yeah, LA, It's awesome. It's the big city. I'm just like, kind of fucking sucks now, dude. It's fucking filthy everywhere.
Yeah,
dude.
it is gross. Like I wish Chris didn't live there, because I feel like it's like where creatives feel like they need to live, but I feel like there's an oppressiveness to it.
Yeah.
I felt freer when I left, but I think that a lot of that was also situational.
He lives in like Burbank though, doesn't he?
Yeah, he lives in
That's,
Burbank,
like,
right where
further
Insomniac
inland.
lives, or Insomniac lives. Insomniac is.
Yeah, that's like the far northeast of LA. That's pretty far. Sorry, I don't want to go off a tangent complaining about LA because I could all day.
By the way, you were not on the passenger manifest. The Ellises are not one of the Mayflower families. I was just curious because there are 26 families, I think, that were on the Mayflower that are like the oldest American families, and I was curious.
No, I don't think we're that old, but we've been here a long time, as far as I'm aware. Far as we could trace back, I suppose. But yeah, Locke, I think I would just pick like the UK. I guess England. I wouldn't want to really live in London though. I kind of want to live in like the English countryside.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's what I seem like. I don't know. Would I just be like some fucking kid talking like I'm from Harry Potter all the time? They're like, hey, Chip Cheerio, give me some fucking tea. Yeah, Harry Potter.
How much Scandinavian blood do you have? Because you always strike me as somebody from like Sweden because you're so tall and you're blonde and you look great and you look very healthy. So you always strike me as somebody.
I can give you my whole background if you want it right now. I can give you everything.
Yes.
32% England and northwestern Europe. 18% Scotland, 17% Germanic Europe, 17 Ireland, 7 France, 5% the Netherlands, 4% Wales.
Wow, so no Scandinavian.
No.
Yeah. So 7% of you is pure evil.
That's right.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
I wonder what mine would say. I'm afraid to even find out. I think it would. Well, I'm not afraid. I think it would shatter a lot of myths in my family about how Italian, how Irish we were. So I don't think anyone really. But I feel like I've said this because we have fairly dark skin. I think you can see, especially like in the summer. And I'm like, I wonder if I have any like Arab or even African in me.
No, that's pretty Italian, isn't it? Sure. That
yeah. Like I feel like it's fairly likely. Probably something faint, obviously. But it would be really interesting to know. But the reason I don't submit my shit to those companies is because I don't want them to have my information. It's the same reason why
everyone's got your information already. Doesn't fucking matter.
I don't think they have his genetic code yet.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be dude. Get it, I guess.
Those
pretty
fucking
easily.
Doctors, whatever, anything. Remember that, Colin? Anytime you go to the doctor, you piss in something, you're donating, you're getting your blood taken. Someone's got it.
It's why I never did the fast TSA thing when I used to travel a lot. Everyone I traveled with would do that, and I would be like, "I'll see you later." I'm waiting in line because I didn't want to like submit documentation to the State Department.
Yeah,
I am my father's son. You have to understand.
Yeah, I understand.
I like it. I think a healthy amount of paranoia is justified. There are lines that you can go too far with.
Yeah,
like my dad. I've said this before. My dad, when Easy Pass came out, Easy Pass is like a very ubiquitous thing now. You know, it's the thing for people that don't know because it has different names in different states. But Easy Pass began in New York in the early 90s, and it's the thing you put on your like for tolls to just get the tolls automatically.
Oh yeah.
So my dad obviously was a New York City firefighter, and he would go in and out of the city all the time. And he had this theory that they were using the tolls, like with the Easy Pass thing, to track how fast you were getting from point A to point B, and that they were going to start giving you tickets. And so he started wrapping his Easy Pass in aluminum foil, and then he would only use it every other time. So if there were like 4 tolls on our voyage, he would use it like the first and the third time, and then actually pay in cash the second and fourth time.
Damn, that's pretty crazy.
I respect the hustle.
Sick.
Yeah. It's so that's how I grew up. If that explains
it all
anything.
makes sense now.
Yeah,
it's all adding up. Yeah.
Shout out to my dad.
Yeah, shout out to your dad, dude. Mr. Moriarty. Locke, where would you pick, dude?
Oh, well, I was thinking about this earlier because I'm very glad I grew up here. But the only problem is life has become unsustainable here. Like I can't afford anything anymore. I'm lucky that I don't have kids or I would be just done. I have many of my friends who just can't afford to live anymore. I can hardly afford rent and just my basic groceries, and that's it, nothing else. I got no money to travel, no money to do basically anything. So if I had kids, I would be completely fucked. So I would, right now, I wish I would live in maybe Bulgaria or something, somewhere where it's still affordable to live. Because I think it's the same in the US. Maybe not as bad as here, but
It
life
depends
is becoming pretty expensive there too, right?
Often.
Yeah, the inflation that we all experienced it's the first inflationary cycle we had in my entire life. I mean, if you were born in the 70s, I guess you experienced the last truly real inflation. So everything got fucked up. Yeah. It's great. I've said it, dude. Like, I can't believe how much the houses in my neighborhood are going for. I know what they cost when we bought them, like, and we had them all built. It's like, it almost seems unfair.
Yeah.
It's like your house is worth $200,000 more than you bought it 4 years ago. I don't fucking think so, dude. You know? But I guess the market dictates these things. And it sucks that this cost of living crisis is pushing people to Bulgaria.
Well, Bulgaria is a beautiful country.
I know. It's totally fun. It's totally
people here. I know I'm never gonna. At least if I stay here, I'll never own a house. It's just impossible. The bank won't even loan me. Someone like me, like a single guy in his 40s. No way you're gonna get a loan for a house. You need like €500,000 to even being considered for something like that. It's just impossible. And I remember my parents, or your parents, or everyone's parents or grandparents, they could just buy houses left and right with one salary. But yeah, we're at least in Belgium, we are completely fucked here. I don't know how it is over there, but here it's just I've never experienced this before. I read about it before and people warned me about it before, but it's never been as bad as right now. So I also don't know how it's going to get better. Like, our wages have to rise, I guess, but how? Dude,
this is why I'm so surprised about, we were talking about immigration into like European countries, and I understand like a pro-immigration, like a deeply pro-immigration slant in a place like the United States we have so much space. Remember a friend of mine at IGN back in the day was like the first to really point that out to me, and like we would talk about it, where it's like, do you ever think about how much space we have? Like, there are new developments, like new housing developments and new buildings and new parts of cities being built and new towns popping up and people building factories in the middle of nowhere and roads cutting through everything. And yet you could still go in the middle and anywhere in the United States and just find nothing. And it's like infinite space. And that gives you infinite potential and possibilities to grow an economy, to build new things and all that. With these smaller older European countries with finite borders that are tiny, and there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to build. It's all been done already for many generations. I'm so surprised that people were so pro-immigration in those countries, because it's like every person that's moving in is displacing one of your people from being able to afford something. Every person that's getting a job is one job you can't have, and there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to grow. You can't assimilate, or I don't want to say assimilate. You can't assume those people as another number in your data and have a positive outcome. And I am sad to hear that for you, because it's like, it's bad here, but we have space and room. And I really think that comes with a lot of advantages that a Belgium doesn't have. That, these countries that are the size of a small state, basically. So it sucks, man. It sucks to hear that. And it's a bummer. What do you do? What maybe move to the US?
Yeah, I'm generally thinking about it. Like, I've been speaking to my friends in the US about it too, because I've just been living here, but I have no family here left. Most of my friends are in the US too. So I could pack up right now and do it, but I just don't, because my habit is living here, I guess. But at some point, I mean, it's almost unaffordable. It already is unaffordable to live here. So yeah, at some point, that's something like that is definitely going to happen. But that also makes me sad, because my heritage is here.
Right.
Like, it's where I come from. So it's just annoying. It happened so rapidly too. Like, I remember a decade ago, this wasn't an issue at all for no one really. Houses were expensive, but it was still pretty much doable. But right now, even if you have two incomes, like I have so many friends here, like couples or married people, who just, there's no way they can afford a house unless their parents pass away and hand them their house or a lot of money. Then maybe it's possible, but otherwise, there's no way. So you just have to rent, and rent is going up exponentially too. My rent just went up $100 for no reason, and my wages didn't go up $100. So that's another amount that I have to just throw in the trash for no reason.
Yeah, dude, rent is so rough, man. Like,
yeah,
I didn't have the space when I was a renter, which I was a renter for almost 20 years of my life. Like, I didn't have the mental space to think about how crazy it is that I have to do this. How much money I spent, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And I know that that's just the way it is, and that's time immemorial, and people just don't, own property, can't own property, or transient, whatever. But it's just like, so getting off that treadmill liberated me in a way that I couldn't have even imagined. And that people can't get off the treadmill makes me sad. It exhausts me just thinking about it. And I'm sorry, because I know exactly what you mean. You get that letter in the mail, when I lived in Santa Monica. So I was rent controlled in San Francisco because the building, so the rules and I don't know if it was California, or I think it was just San Francisco, but it might've been California, was like, if your building hadn't been renovated since date X or whatever, then you were rent controlled. And the second that they started renovating and doing X, Y, and Z to your building, they can start charging you for more rent. And then you're like off that cycle. So I lived in an old building and that was cool. But in Santa Monica, I lived in a new building, and like they would raise the rent like gratuitously. And it's how do people confront that? And then the trickle down that has it, the $100 you're spending there means that you're not going to go spend $100 other things. And it's a sad situation, man. And the money, I feel bad for people. We see it all in a lot of our exit surveys on Patreon. It's like, money's tight. And the economy is not what it seems.
There's a definite tightening of monetary movement here in the US as well as across borders. I can speak only with my eyes on clients and investment capital, private equity, startups, the things that I see in my day to day all the time. But like the money is just not moving out. The lenders aren't lending, the investors aren't investing. And that is in large part a function of the inflationary environment and uncertainty that comes with it, right? And unfortunately, COVID, we think of as over, or at least lightening now, but that black swan event is the cause of all of this inflationary pressure, all of these kind of weird economic times that we're living in. And unfortunately, Locke, I hear you entirely. There's a history of looking through economic history and seeing an inflationary bump. And then, yes, wages, salaries, what have you, rise to meet it. But there is a lag period between those things. And we are living in it right now. And it sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. It does. So hopefully you can end up in a better place wherever you want to be, or it works out for you where you are.
Yeah, I'm one of the lucky ones. Like, I shouldn't complain. Like, I don't have any kids. I don't have any responsibilities. I mean, I want to take my cat with me, but I can pack up my stuff right now and go to wherever. But there's a lot of people who can't do that, who have like steady jobs. Their families are here, their parents are here, so they can't do that. And they're just, it's so, I feel so sad when I look at my friends who are in that situation. Because for me, I don't care. But my friends are, if you have little kids, they have little kids and they can't go on holiday, for instance. It's summer right now and they can't go anywhere because there's no money. It's so sad.
Yeah, that sucks.
Makes me sad. Yeah.
Are you satisfied?
Yes. Thank you. Great answers.
It's a funny way to put it. All right. Let's see. That was Locks. I have my little list here. I guess since we're talking about, we'll end with Hoeg. Brad, we'll do yours next. Since we're talking about countries and we're talking about the 4th of July, might as well try to make these connections.
Yes, sir. So yeah, it is 4th of July for us here in the United States today. What goes well with 4th of July? Got your hamburgers, your hot dogs. What else, Colin?
Fireworks.
That's right. Fireworks. A big
Guns.
Deal here on 4th of July. First of all, how did this tradition start, I guess? Do you know, Colin, like fireworks?
No, I don't. Well, fireworks I think are like Chinese.
I know like the origin of them, but I'm like...
As far as us, no, I think it was just my assumption is, and Hoeg might know this too, is that was kind of a newer celebration. It's like hot air balloons in that, that generation. Like the idea of these colorful, beautiful fireworks, I think, are contemporary to the 17th and 18th centuries. And so I think
of it as bunting and, the band music and fireworks were all a big deal for celebrations, but I don't know that for sure.
Right. So I think that we've drawn all of that forward in our own traditions because those were the ways that people would celebrate. Yeah, the bunting and all that. That's a great.
Yeah, but it's like you don't do that for any other holiday, really. In the United States.
That's exactly right. I mean, that's exactly right. That's the whole point. It's like, yeah. So anyway, I think that's where it comes from. But yeah, the Chinese were blowing shit up for a long time. So.
Yeah. But I'm just kind of like, hey, what's your experience with fireworks? Do you still blow shit up to this day if you have the opportunity? Any funny stories growing up with fireworks? For me, like where I live, fireworks are like the real good shit's illegal, but you can go like a city over and buy them, and everyone does anyways. So you have to go a little extra step here, but man, what kind of dude just doesn't like blowing shit up? No one can deny the simple pleasures of just seeing that shit. Throwing a firework down, watching it blow up. Something wonderful about it. Very patriotic seeing all those colors going. I love it. Feels so good. Colin, give me some of your firework stories.
Yeah, it's funny because we just went into this on Sacred recently, is that I was talking about fireworks and parades. And I'm like, we got to put these things away, in my opinion. Old,
damn,
boring.
Put them away.
You can understand. This is what I think. Fireworks are
taking people's joy away, Colin.
Well, I love doing that personally.
Scrooge, the Grinch, however you want to be called.
I actually do have a somewhat, I don't want to say a deep connection, but I went to Bellport High School on Long Island. Bellport is well known for. I lived in Brookhaven, which was like a hamlet, so like we went to Bellport. We didn't have like a school or anything, and Bellport is well known for being the home of Fireworks by Grucci, which is a huge American fireworks company. And I was just talking about them on Sacred because I'm friends with Felix Grucci III, who's my buddy that I went to school with. He's a doctor now. And his dad was our congressman for many years. But the Gruccis were like local royalty in some sense. Like everyone knew who they were. And their whole thing were fireworks. They actually did the fireworks at all the Republican shit. For the national convention and like the inauguration and all that kind of stuff. And so it's like actually a thing you grow up with, like, oh, the Gruccis are doing a fireworks show at whatever, because they would do like local things,
right, which
were cool. And as a kid, I guess I enjoyed it, but I find them generally fairly boring because I'm just like, yeah, I get in like 1720. You see this amazing, you're like, what the fuck, dude? That was like the craziest thing you'll ever see in your life, probably. I totally get it. It's the same thing with parades. I was noting that you never leave like where you were born. And then you see a bunch of interesting people that did interesting things marching through like an army or something. And you're like, yeah, I'll remember that for the rest of my life. But I just don't, I feel like we're in different places. Fireworks actually scare me a little bit. Not a little bit, a lot. I don't really like fucking with them. I have set fireworks off, obviously. But you, and this is how it came up on Sacred, was we were talking about like the catastrophic injuries that people get from them.
Yeah.
And you like live leak style see these things like every year.
Dude, but that's kind of like the fun, the little danger aspect.
Yeah, no,
you can't be don't be a dumb fuck with them, but
I actually get that there is a little, but people are drunk and they annoy the fuck out of the dogs and all this kind of thing. And so yeah, I'm not super into the fireworks celebrations, but I get it. To each their own. I'm not trying to steal your joy. It doesn't really bother me. Yeah. But
it's so weird to me. But just because like Colin, you like I'm thinking about it, you're talking about like just like staring at the sky. I'm like, where do you get off being so blue? You're giving me all these stoner thoughts, and it's just like, I thought you would love to see these colors explode in the sky, man.
Yeah, I mean it's cool. I can just play Fantavision. But
Fantavision.
but there is like a crazy. I wonder if there's like some sort of thing that was just inborn in me. Basically, in the 80s, there was a massive Grucci fireworks catastrophe on Long Island. I'm sure there's like probably a Wikipedia page dedicated to it. And yeah, it says in 1983, I'm on their Wikipedia page. Disaster struck the company when an explosion at the company's factory in Bellport, New York, killed 2 family members and heavily damaged dozens of nearby homes.
Holy
that was like
shit.
A moment that like people still reference in like local lore of like when this firework. And so maybe as a kid, because that happened the year before I was born, maybe that was like kind of ingrained in me, where it's like, holy shit, like the Grucci's ate shit in this fucking fireworks factory. You better stay away from the fireworks. Maybe there's something to that, but
that sounds like some fucking Looney Tunes shit. I mean, it's awful what happened, but like firework factory exploding, it's crazy.
Yeah, I could imagine it was both beautiful and horrifying at the same time.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so it's cool, to each their own. It's not a thing I really get into, and as a dog owner, it's especially annoying because.
Well, there's like, you can do sparklers or shit. You don't always need like an M80
but just the people around you. I mean, you can't control like what everyone in your neighborhood's fucking setting off all night.
Did you have any last night? Because we had a lot around here.
No, I don't think we did have any last night. Interestingly.
People cannot hold on to their fireworks.
I know. I think people need to chill out on that. Just do it on the day and that's it. Don't be doing it for like a week.
I just imagine this guy in the garage looking at the stack of fireworks being like, no, not another day.
And you don't do it late. You don't do it like people are doing it at like 3 a.m. Like, don't do that shit, dude.
It's funny because we should celebrate. I think we should celebrate like ISIS does. Just like shoot guns in the air.
Say that again.
That would be awesome. We should do that instead.
Those bullets got to go somewhere. They got to come back down.
That's way more American.
Yeah,
start just shooting off fucking cannons and.
That's like, have you seen True Lies, dude? They're just like doing that at one part in the movie. It's fucking awesome.
Those bullets have to come down, by the way. So
yeah,
you never hear someone's certainly getting killed by those, right? At some point.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The bullet comes down and yeah.
Dude, have you seen those videos? They're awful. Don't watch them. But there's like videos sometimes on Twitter or something that you scroll by and it just appears there. Or like weddings in that part of the world. But they're also shooting in the air. But then one guy is drunk and just starts shooting like this.
Oh yeah. And just wipes people. Yeah, I've seen.
Horrible. Yeah, it's fucking wild.
Yeah.
Anyway, we should do that.
Yeah, 21 gun salute right there.
Please come to the LSM 4th of July celebration.
We'll shoot off our Kalishnikovs.
Hoeg, fireworks. You're American. Talk to me.
I mean, I think I have probably the pretty standard stories from when I was younger where like you'd have dad in the backyard with the stack of fireworks like on a wooden plank.
Hell
and maybe a wick that was not quite long enough and running back to the safe space as we waited for the fireworks to go off and then them not going off and wondering exactly what we should do about the quasi-lit fireworks in the backyard. But it's been a long time since we've done anything like that. I've had a family with kids now for the better part of a couple decades, and it's really mostly been when they were younger, sparklers in the driveway, and like the volcano fireworks, the ones that you set down and they do weird things that go up. They've gotten really good at making those really interesting, I think. I love those.
Yeah,
you get them at the gas station.
Chill, safe, relatively.
Yeah, wherever you pick them up, really enjoy those. But I was informed this year for the first time that my daughters would prefer to not look at any fireworks. They don't like the process. They don't like the sounds. And they would like to be in the basement, which is the best place we can get away from the outside sounds because so many people around us set off fireworks. So I don't know that I'll actually be watching any this year, although I do side with Colin a little bit on, I really like fireworks. I like to look at them. I like them when they start. And then I apparently get more bored by them earlier than other people. Like these shows are 15 minutes long. I could probably do with 3 minutes.
Right.
I could probably do with 5 minutes. It's very exciting when it starts. Lots of lights in the sky. I really enjoy that. But then they go very, very long.
You're getting like the jam band version of it as opposed to like the single that you're looking for, like the radio single, the radio edit.
Yeah, it's just they're always like, hey, you know what? As long as we're all here, as long as we got this pile of fireworks, it's a 20-minute show. It's like, yeah, but it kind of loses impact after a time. The only other thing I would add to fireworks as a topic for me is that I love them when synchronized with music. I'm a big sucker for like the theme park fireworks shows where they're doing different things with lights and music. And I remember 4th of July when I was probably a teenager and them having the Proud to be American song and like timing the explosions for when the beats would happen in the song. I love that. But just in the sky, launching explosions, I am enthused by them as much as anybody else, but not for the length of time that the shows usually go on.
Okay. Man. Disappointed in all of this.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. It's
letting him down.
Locke, have you ever seen a firework in your life?
What? No, I kept wondering what you guys are talking about. But no, it's so funny to hear these stories because I was under the impression up until a couple of minutes ago that every country in the world would set off fireworks at like midnight on New Year's Eve. But you guys don't do that over there?
Oh, we have New Year's fireworks.
Oh, okay, because that's when it's legal here. The whole year long, it's illegal here. There are plenty of restrictions,
it's like
but
kind of thing, not nearly to the scale of like 4th of July. Like I don't even think about fireworks.
I think of it as our governments do the New Year's fireworks, right? It's the city nearby, maybe the state, and 4th of July is like your neighbors that you hope are aiming their giant cannons correctly, because that's what 4th of July is an act of trust, right? You talk about the little danger put in. You're trusting this thing that you got at maybe a sketchy location, depending on exactly what jurisdiction you're living in, was packed properly, that everything is done properly so that you're not going to blow your hand off, even if you're doing everything right. And then when you live in a neighborhood like I do, you're hoping that the people that are clearly carousing and having a good time are setting the sticks in the ground properly, are not aiming it at the top of your house, whatever it might be. And that's, it's great. America, melting pot, land of freedom.
American way. It's like we're on a PvP server, and like you just got to trust like that everything goes well. It's like with guns,
No friendly fire, please.
It's like you can have a gun, it's great, but like you gotta hope everything turns out all right.
That's what we used to do as kids. We would get like beer bottles and put like those, what do you call them? Those fireworks that just shoot.
Bottle rockets?
Yeah, we would just put them in the rocket and then put the bottle on the street and just see the
oh hell yeah, dude!
See the thing go and then explode against the car and then maybe a tire gets wrecked every once in a while. So that's what we did as a kid, and I love that. Or we have those little firecrackers which you just throw at people.
Oh yeah, those are cool. I like those. There you go.
Yeah.
Little poppers, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Or we put like cherry bombs into the toilets and stuff, like the classic stuff, and then things explode and stuff goes wrong. But we used to be able to do that. And as a kid, I did that too with my brothers. We used to love New Year's Eve because then our parents would just buy a shit ton of fireworks and they would just let us go and nobody would care. Like we didn't know that you can harm yourself. So I used to love it as a kid up until I was like 8, 9, or 10 years old, because that's when the ads started playing on TV. And the ads were like, I don't know, have any of you guys seen Arrested Development?
Yeah.
The show. Remember the guy with one arm who teaches the kids that lesson? Well, the ads here were basically like that. They would just show like kids playing, and then suddenly there's a booming voice telling you, would you like to live with one hand? And then you see a mangled hand and a kid completely fucked up. And so that's when I started getting a little bit scared of fireworks. And then our government basically clamped down on them and made them illegal, except on New Year's Eve, because that's when people can still go nuts here. And then I think it was in the year 2002, the images are still on YouTube. There was this huge factory explosion here. There was a factory in the Netherlands which made fireworks, and it exploded. And basically it took out 2 entire neighborhoods with it. Like a bunch of people died there too, which was horrible. And that's when both our governments said, okay, we're done. No more fireworks for anyone. So that's when fireworks basically ended for me. I had a happy childhood with fireworks, but I can't imagine any kids right now still being allowed to play with fireworks. The only time there are big fireworks out is still on New Year's Eve, maybe on our national holiday too. Like the 21st of July is our national holiday. That's when the government like organizes big fireworks. But like Colin and Hoeg both said, you stare at them for 2 minutes like, oh, and then you want to go inside, but you can't because you have to watch the fireworks. And then people take out their phones and like video it, but they'll never watch it again.
They'll never watch it, and you can't see it. It's like, what are you?
Those are great videos.
Yeah.
So that's all kind of pointless. But yeah, I love fireworks, but I wish there was a way to make them safer. You would think by now there would be a way to make them like completely foolproof safe and then just have everybody buy them. But I guess that doesn't exist yet.
Some of them,
a gap in the market. Yeah.
Like the sparklers and shit like that. I mean, if you stick it in your eye, it's going to fuck you up a little bit, but...
But that's like the lawyers putting warnings on everything.
Yeah, there's like explosive shit in it. So it's going to have that element of danger no matter what.
Generally speaking, if it's an object in the world, you can hurt yourself with it.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I live like driving like 20 minutes from Disneyland, so I can see sometimes the fireworks from there, which is really sick. So Hoeg, I think I grew up with like a lot of that kind of like synchronized to music and stuff. Like I grew up going to Disneyland all the time because it was cheap back then for a pass. So yeah, I don't know. I think fireworks are just fucking sick, man. Yeah. If it was all the time, I think it wouldn't be as exciting, but gotta keep it special for those select days. But
what's your favorite one? What's your favorite explosion?
I don't know. Like, it's like
I like the ones that make
like,
shapes.
Yeah, that make shapes and have bright colors. Locke. Those are the best kind. Those are the best. I don't know, but fireworks are getting crazy to like spell shit out or like a picture or something like that.
Yeah,
stuff's getting crazy. Like,
I like this topic because I don't know how much longer we're going to have fireworks, right? You see the drone shows that all of the like sporting events are using and all those things, and people love them.
Yeah, that's taken over. Yeah, get them while you can before they're gone for good.
And I did want to tell you, I looked up an article on where fireworks on the 4th of July came from, and it looks like we can thank/blame the city of Philadelphia in 1777 for the first anniversary of the Declaration. They celebrated with fireworks, and it was taken up by the rest of the colonies during that year.
All right.
There you go. Thank you for looking.
Very interesting.
The internet is a very wonderful and mysterious place.
Wonderful and scary place.
Oh, yes.
That's it for me, though. I just wanted to know everyone's thoughts about fireworks. Very satisfied.
All right, cool.
Everyone hates them.
Fuck
Love it.
Fuck them.
I feel like we were more nuanced than that. But, hey.
All right. Hoeg, let's end with you then. You have a very interesting topic this week.
Yeah. I try to bring interesting topics. I don't know if I always succeed or not, but what we're going to talk about today is K-pop. Not specifically, but I was watching a movie with my girls this past week that I really was watching because it looked bright and colorful and I thought they would get a kick out of it. But it turned out to be one of the things that we really all enjoyed a lot in K-pop Demon Hunters, the Netflix movie. And I can't recommend it more to people. The name is ridiculous. It has no right to be as good as it is, but it's a really well done movie. But it made me question, have you ever had something that's out there in the world, a book, a movie, a television show, anything else, that you can tell definitely wasn't made for you, right? It wasn't made for your demographic. It wasn't aimed to get your $1 in the door. And yet it really resonates with you. It really works for you, because this is one of those instances where I say, if I didn't have girls, if I didn't have my daughters, I probably would never have even clicked on this because I don't trust Netflix movies in general. And this is not aimed at me demographically, but it's a tremendous movie. And I think everybody that's watching this video would probably get a kick out of it. Have you ever had that experience? Let's start with Colin.
Yeah, it's funny, actually. It's what came to mind when I saw this is something that actually Micah and I share with your wife, which is our love of Downton Abbey and The Gilded Age and those kinds of period pieces. And so I would say period pieces specifically.
Yeah, okay.
I think period piece. So I think there's a difference between historical drama. So think of that are inherently period pieces. So think of like The Terror on AMC, if you guys saw that or whatever. That's like a male oriented. That's about like Antarctic explorers or whatever. Actually, Arctic explorers. And it's really, really great. And it takes place in the place and time, and it's really fucking dark and everything. And that's a period piece, but it's really an historical drama, as opposed to things that I think are coded much more for women. And I don't know if this is because I grew up primarily with women. Obviously, I had my brother, and Dagan was a major influence on me. But on a day-to-day basis, I was really with my sisters, and playing Barbie, and listening to New Kids on the Block, and they would dress me up as a girl. There's pictures of me. Like we have to scan them or whatever. Like they had a name for me too that when they would do that, I forget like what it was. So like, and I, when my parents got divorced, I was with my mom. So and we're a very matriarchal family, grandmas and aunts and female cousins and all these kinds of things. So it's like, I wonder if there was like some influence there. And I always got along better with women. Like I had good male friends in college, but actually like my closest friends outside of Ramon were a group of girls, that I used to hang out with, that I met when I was a freshman. So it's interesting to think about like why I kind of trend more towards these things, but I find myself quite engaged often with the female coded historical drama, or what we would really just call a period piece, because usually they're fictional. And Julian Fellows, who does The Gilded Age and who does Downton Abbey, is like a guy I just take to his stuff.
That is a gifted writer.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And what bothers me about like, I remember seeing Downton Abbey for the first time and be like, this sounds fucking stupid.
It does.
Yeah. And then it was on what I remember was it was on Netflix streaming. It was like one of the first prominent things that Netflix had streaming, where it was this thing from the BBC or from England, and it's airing on PBS, but no one's really talking about it. And I watched it and I'm like, this is fucking awesome. And I have had that experience many times with similar things. I consider Showtime's old show, The Tudors, to be fairly similar. That to me is quite female coded as well. It's very sexual. It's
I was gonna say, that's Sexy Times in France, right?
Right. And it's awesome. And it's about Henry VIII and his wives. And I'm sure men liked it, but it was, I would imagine, mostly females that were watching it. And yet that's something that I really enjoyed. And so similar things like that. And I think what was really telling to me, because you kind of enjoy these things, especially something like Downton or whatever, in your own little capsule, maybe some people in your life enjoy it as well, but you don't really know like what the demographics are. But when they started releasing, and they released that first, because there's gonna be another one coming up, which is awesome. And it's gonna be over after that. But,
the grand finale this fall.
Which I'm devastated about, because I really wanted them to keep doing it, but you have to put things away after a while. But when they released the Downton Abbey movie a couple of years ago, and I went day one to see it in the theater, and I went with my sisters, my mom, and Micah, or maybe not Micah, it was maybe just my sisters, my mom. And that's when I realized that, because that theater was almost sold out, and there were probably 4 or 5 dudes in it, and I might have been the only one there that wasn't dragged there, where I was like, I'm fucking down to see this. Like, I'm fucking need to see this.
Yeah.
And so that really did signify to me, like, wow, you are not in any way, shape, or form the target demographic for this, yet you eat it up.
That's not for you.
No.
Well, that's one of the reasons that I reject that kind of defense of criticism that you see so often online, which is your critique is not valid because this wasn't made for you. It's like, people can definitely go too far with criticism, especially for things that aren't aimed at them, but it isn't outside the bounds of looking at the quality of something just because it isn't made for you, because people can still evaluate things on a quality level that aren't made for them. Downton Abbey is fan-freaking-tastic. And that doesn't change if I'm a different demographic, if I'm coming at it from a different direction. It's just great art. But I do have a corollary question just to your story, Colin, which is to say, okay, you went with your mom and your sisters to this. Have you been in a scenario with Downton Abbey or with anything else where you felt like, I couldn't go, or I wouldn't want to go if I didn't have some defensive shielding for the demographic that it is aimed at? If you were just one ticket for Downton Abbey, please, would you have an issue with that?
No, that's that kind of stuff I don't care about. No, I wouldn't have an issue with that at all. I probably honestly wouldn't have been as motivated to see it if there were other people that didn't want to see it, because I just don't go to the movies.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, no, and it's funny with Gilded Age. Gilded Age is back on HBO, but we're just letting it stack up, and then we'll watch it all at once. So I'm trying to just be as patient as possible, but I'm seeing commercials for it and shit, and it's just funny because I'm like, this is made for women. It's not the only thing. Like, I remember when I was a little kid, my sisters used to read the Babysitter's Club books.
Yeah.
And then they made them the TV show, the Babysitter's Club TV show. And I loved the shit out of that. And that was like for little girls, like there's just like strange, I don't know, man. It's like, I think it is just exposure in some sense. People that love history. I think that there's a lot of men that don't realize that they would love something like Gilded Age, or like they love John Adams on HBO, or they love whatever, like that kind of thing. And I'm like, it's kind of the same thing, dude. It's just kind of pitched a little differently, but the things you love about those experiences, you would actually love about these experiences too. And
I think the internet and social media play a role there. I don't know that everybody would be as willing to go in and say one ticket for Downton Abbey. So you don't know exactly how much fandom there is out there with people willing to even say, hey, yeah, go check out K-pop Demon Hunters, go check out Downton Abbey, whatever it might be, because they're worried about how that might be received. And that goes across this question, certainly, just the way that social media functions in people's lives and brains. But I do think that happens where people kind of tamp down on their own hobbies, likes, whatever, because they think it'll reflect the wrong way if they go out with that.
I think yes, Hoeg, but I also think it goes to the extreme the other way. Think of bronies. Shit like that.
You just circle up.
Getting real crazy. Like, maybe a little too proud about being into something. Maybe taking a little too far.
I will vouch for My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, but as I vouch for it, I agree entirely with Brad, which is that, no, I do not qualify my identity or my personhood on the fact that I do enjoy that show. It is a show that was introduced to me by my young children at the time, but it is a well-made show. I don't think you need to go out and tell everybody about the plot line in the middle of season 3 that you really loved in My Little Pony, but it is a well-made show.
Yeah, you're not going to brony cons and shit like that. At least I
have not. Is there one? Is there a convention?
Hoeg, if there's something for everything. Perverts will find a way to get together no matter what.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they'll find each other.
Well, on that note, Brad, do you have anything that you like that we wouldn't expect or that wasn't made for you?
I don't know. I'm not really like... I don't really like hide anything that I'm into. I'm trying to think like, I don't know. It's like, what do I do that, or I like that's like kind of unusual? It's like, what is fucking unusual nowadays? People are like into everything. I don't know. It's like if you tell someone you like anime or comics, like that maybe was like weird in the 90s, but it's like mainstream now.
No, it's
Locke shaking his head. I don't know.
But let's take anime for a second. Like, is there some kind of weird slice of life school-based anime that you adore that we wouldn't expect, or that
I'm
wasn't
really
named
trying to
for
think
you?
if there is. I honestly haven't watched anime in a long time.
Okay.
So I don't really I don't know like what's going on with anime nowadays. The only thing I keep up with mostly now is just One Piece, and that's about it, and maybe Berserk occasionally. But Berserk's very adult, so not kid. I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I heard a couple BTS songs that were good. I don't know. Is that like unusual? Like, is that unusual? I don't even fucking know.
This is an entirely fair line of questioning on this question, which is, is anything made for anybody now? Is it just all kind of for everyone?
Like, I've seen a couple, like when my nieces and nephews were younger, this show called Puff and Rock on Netflix, I remember I was like, oh, that's a cute kid show, actually. Or something like that. It's like, I can like respect that. It's like, I don't know if I'm going to go out of my way to watch or anything, Hoeg, but it's like appreciating something, I guess, like you're saying, that isn't necessarily made for your demographic. You know, I was seeing that when I'm like my late 20s, but I'm like, oh, I can just appreciate things about this.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff.
Everybody can find something to like in a Bluey episode, but it's not made for you. If you're listening to this, it's not made for you.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, like what is made for me? It's like, oh, I see some guy like made a fucking like crazy Lego set or some shit. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And it's like, is that not for me? Because like that's adults doing this, because Legos are expensive as hell. That's not some 10-year-old doing that. That's full on adults.
Legos are expensive.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like, I saw Brian Wilson in concert, I remember years ago, from the Beach Boys, and I was like the youngest person there. I felt like,
no problem.
I was like,
Brian Wilson.
I don't know. Is that weird? It's like, I don't really know.
Oh, that's awesome.
A little bit. No, that's a great kind of angle on this, which is that I know a lot of people that loved like oldies when I was a teenager, and that was like one of the things that identified them as different, which was you're playing Beach Boys or what have you in the 90s when everybody else is listening to whatever they're listening to. And I think that's great. I'm entirely in favor of finding wherever your joy lives and not letting society tell you what you're allowed to like on these kinds of things. But I'm still, even with that as a philosophy, surprised that I connected with something called K-pop Demon Hunters as much as I did.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like,
that's why I wanted to bring it up.
Like I've seen like most of the Despicable Me movies or some shit like that. I think they're funny, especially with kids, like watching with my nieces and nephews. And it's like, I don't know. You can appreciate stuff about them. Yeah. Even from like an animation perspective, and I'm like thinking how cool that kind of stuff is. Like, I don't know.
Do you ever find yourself liking something more with the group that you're in and seeing how they react to it when it is made for them, or
I think to an extent,
adjusting your thoughts on something?
I think so. I think that's like what it's probably like to be a parent. I don't know. I'm not really like one, but like, you know, you do stuff with things that you probably wouldn't do normally, or watch things like you're saying, Hogan. Like, yeah, you do find things about it that are interesting. So
yeah, well, I've had
I
to,
guess
like,
so.
In my parenting, I've pre-watched almost everything that I put in front of them, because I don't want it to just be a surprise and go in a direction that isn't appropriate for their age group at any given time. And so I have found, first of all, that I've watched a lot of slop, a lot of crap out there, but also that you do tend to like certain things and maybe watch the next episode of something that you found for your girls by yourself, because I want to know how that plot ends, and that's fun. That's interesting. That is parenting to me, is finding those things, finding those diamonds in the rough. The other aspect of parenting there is that it's often a surprise as to what connects with them. Like, you get a vibe and you know that this thing's likely to work, but then there'll be something you say, you'll never like this. Like, my oldest daughter is playing Death Stranding with me right now. Nice. We're like, you're not going to like this. there are people that play this that don't necessarily like it that much because of the various aspects of the middle of this game. But like we were walking around mountains yesterday doing the mission loop that has you go around 3 times in the same path. And I'm like, I'm sorry if this is boring to you. She's like, no, this is great. This is exactly as it should be. And she's enjoying the crap out of it. And it's like fantastic. But I would not have bet on this if you had told me up front.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like all the stuff I think that I was into when I was a kid, like that's considered semi-taboo at the time, was like video games and anime. And it's just like, they're humongous nowadays. They're completely mainstream. So I don't really know.
And the funny thing about video games is I remember when I started at my law firm coming out of law school, and they make you do these little emails to introduce yourself and what you're into. And everybody says, plays tennis and golf and loves hiking and loves his wife and family, whatever it is. And one of mine was that it was something about video games. I can't remember what I said, but it was part of the paragraph. And I got a closed door meeting with one of the senior partners that was like, now, the video games stay at home. You're not going to play them here, are you?
Yeah.
And like
that was such an old thing now.
But yeah, well, and law firms are the oldest of the old, right? Like it's 2025 right now, but the big law firms are in maybe 1925. Like I was working in the 21st century, and we were still just then getting computers and word processing for the senior partners.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, all those people there, I remember telling me like, stay off video games. You're going to rot your brain away. Now they're just staring at their phone fucking 24 hours a day.
It's very true. No, I like to be a representative out there. I've been to board game conventions and things where
yeah, exactly.
I'll wear my hat and whatnot because there's the dad with the kid who's clearly trying to do this for his kid and being like, board game conventions have a certain amount of social weirdness about them with strangers celebrating a love of board games anyway. But the dad with his kid, I remember sitting at the table and he's quizzing me like, so your life has been pretty successful. Like you have a family, you don't live with your parents and you're a lawyer and all these various things. I was like, yes, I'm not making any promises, but you can love board games. You can love video games, whatever else that your son is into here. And you can make it. There is a way to survive and be the kind of hopefully well-adjusted person that you're looking for as a human being. I can't make any promises of myself that I'm always well-adjusted, but the fear that people have when you say, oh, I love video games or anything else is like, oh, it's going to be living in my basement forever. I'm going to be supporting them when they're 60. And I want to know that that's not necessarily going to be the case.
Yeah. I think just kind of a lot of that has gone away as times have grown, saying that kind of stuff. Because if someone's worst habit was being into video games nowadays, I'm like, oh, thank God.
I've always felt that way. It's like it's relatively low expenses in terms of the things that you can get into and get in trouble with. It's not out there on the street causing trouble for other people.
Exactly. My parents always kind of liked that about it growing up. Like my parents are always super supportive about me and my brother kind of doing whatever, like skateboarding, or my dad would take us to like card game conventions when we were very young and stuff like that. But he was just like never weird about it. He like never treated us weird about it or like scoffed at us doing that kind of shit.
Yeah.
You're always just kind of down.
Yeah. It's interesting that you say that. My parents were the same. I think Dagan really set the precedent for that because he was such a nerd from so early and was also a really talented artist. And so was clearly going to be a cartoonist or something or an animator of some sort, which he ended up being. So I think they took it seriously. And my parents are kind of nerds. They're more low key about it. My dad, especially, like, is a fantasy nerd and like a sci-fi nerd. Definitely.
Really cool.
Yeah, he's the one I said on a recent show where I was like, he's the one that's being like, you really should just watch Andor.
You haven't watched Andor?
No.
Wait, I want to change my topic.
No, I haven't watched Andor. I don't want to give them any of my money if I can help it.
I understand that. I do understand that impulse, Colin. Andor is probably the best thing I've seen on TV in a decade.
Well, my dad was saying, he's like, I know how much you love Rogue One. And he's like, because I think that movie's arguably the greatest Star Wars movie, as good as Empire, maybe a little bit less. And he's like, dude,
the first half is confused, but I think the ending of Andor, the last act of Andor, of Rogue One, apologies, is very strong. Yeah,
like there are goosebump worthy parts of Rogue One where I'm like, this is fucking Star Wars, dude. This is fucking awesome. That's when I really thought that they got it. And my dad was like, yeah, well, Andor is more of that. And I'm like, yeah, but they just kind of fucked everything else up. So it's all fungible. It's all fungible. I don't want to give them my money anymore. You know,
I understand that. I can give my heartiest recommendation to check out Andor.
Yeah, no, So what were we even talking about before?
I don't
we
know.
got into Star Wars?
We're talking about Andor now.
Your dad being a nerd.
Oh
Being
yeah,
cool.
that's right. I'm sorry. Yeah, my parents are nerds. Like my mom and dad always talk about how they were like the only adults online in 1971 to see Willy Wonka in the theater, and stuff like that. So like they're amenable to things like that. They just, I think, keep it under wraps. Like my dad's a big Tolkien guy, for instance, like loves that shit, like loves it. And he has since long before, like the Jackson movies and stuff like that. Like so I give them credit for kind of being flexible. When I remember my dad, a memory I have as a kid is I was really into D&D, and I used to just play with my friend's books. My friend Eric was like our dungeon master, and he had all the materials and shit. And I was getting really into it, and he would let us kind of borrow things, but he was kind of a little squeamish about letting people borrow these books, and because you wanted to just go through the monster manuals and all the different inserts and all the rest. So I remember my dad like bringing me to like this nerdy store. I don't even remember what it was called, to like buy my own D&D books. And he knew what we were getting into, and it didn't have the, D&D, that was version 2 or whatever. Didn't have the greatest reputation. My dad's a religious person and all the rest. And they were really cool about it. I said my dad used to deploy to a Smith Haven Mall for me all the time on Long Island to get games for me. He worked around there, so I would pre-order games and often prepay for them, or he would pay them and then I'd pay him back. And he would always come home on it was Tuesdays or Wednesdays typically. And I remember him coming home with all this random shit for me like that. I was like, Dad, please, after work, go to, EB Games and pick up Animusha 2 or whatever.
I was there as well. Yeah.
And he would do
Funko-Land, Dad.
So yeah, sure. So they were great about it. It would be such a bummer. I knew people were. One of my sisters is really hard ass about her kids playing games and stuff, and I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like, look how great it's worked out for everyone in your family, like for your brothers, and people are still very backwards about it. They'll let people be on their phones or their tablets or like watch TV and zone out, but not engage with the game. It makes no sense.
Yeah, stimulate their brain at least.
Yeah.
Fucking idiots.
I'm sympathetic to parents wanting the best for their kids and being concerned about this thing that wasn't a part of their lives when they were kids. So I get that part of it. I don't get it when, as you say, they're perfectly happy to put on YouTube on shuffle or whatever and sit them in front versus something else. Because I do think gaming can have a lot of that critical thinking aspect of it that you don't necessarily see for more passive entertainment. It's worked great so far for my daughters. I'm very happy to say they have good grades and they're very happy.
Excellent.
But I do have sympathy for people in an alien environment saying, I don't know how to feel about this thing, because it's very difficult to judge if you haven't been living with games for a long time.
Yeah, totally.
Now, that said, Locke, is there anything that you know that you like that hasn't been made for you?
Well, I've worked ever since I got out of high school. I started working in TV. So I went to film school, and then I was an intern on various TV shows and sets. And when you work in TV, the golden rule is don't watch reality. Because when you start working on reality, like I did some stuff for Big Brother and stuff, you realize that it's all fake and it loses all the magic. So I couldn't watch reality. I've never could. My country, there's this production firm here that made The Mole, a big reality show. That was the only one that I could watch, because that wasn't about the contestants, but that was more about the mystery. So that one was made really well. But if you watch other reality shows like Big Brother or any other show,
Live, all those kind of reality shows.
I was just gonna get to that. Exactly. They're completely fake. Like, it's like wrestling. Everything about it is fake. So throughout my entire youth and then my early college years, I never really watched reality. I've never really cared about it until someone, I don't remember who it was, at some point recommended Survivor to me, like the US version of Survivor. And I remember I was in my last year of college, I think, and I got completely hooked on it. I got completely addicted. I watched those first 15, 16 seasons that were out at that point right then. I watched them all in like one, well, not in one go, because that would have been like that. But I watched them all after each other, and I loved it, because what the US version did so well, and what our version didn't do, or any version in Europe anyway, is that they would cast complete psychopaths and idiots, like morons.
Richard Hatch.
Richard Hatch, yeah, the first one, or later on,
Hatch
Russell
cheek.
Hands, who's they're like blatantly evil people who would like to backstab their teams, and then later on in later seasons, people knew how to play the game, so they would come into the game with like this predetermined plan, and they would try to fuck up everything or throw away the rice and then just fuck with people, and that that made it really fun to me. But after a while, US Survivor got incredibly streamlined, especially after COVID. It used to be 39 days, but they brought it back to 29 days. The casting has gotten extremely weak. They only cast people with like boring sob stories where they had cancer when they were a kid. Like, okay, that's very bad, but nobody cares. So
suck it up.
well, yeah,
No, I know what you're getting at. Yeah.
So they were, yeah. What are they going to talk about? Like, then one person had like this type of cancer, and the other person had this type of cancer. They would compare it to each other, and then the person with the worst kind of cancer at the end would win because everyone felt bad for them. So that wasn't fun for me anymore. So I stopped watching Survivor, I want to say a decade and a half ago. But then a couple of months ago, somebody told me that I should watch Australian Survivor.
Oh.
So I started doing that. I think not that long ago, 2 months ago, I think. And there's only a couple of seasons. But Australian Survivor is completely crazy. Every episode is 1 hour. There's a bunch of extra people on there, and they literally just let them go. So the production doesn't intervene. They don't do anything. And the contestants on there are completely insane. There's this evil guy who declared himself King George. And he would just pit people against each other, and people couldn't deal with it. So a lot of other contestants got like breakdowns, and fantastic TV, brilliant TV. The New York Times even declared one episode of the 2023 season. They put it in their top 10 best episodes of the year, that year, of Australian Survivor. So that had to compete with, like, I don't know, what was the show in 2023? Not The Wire, Breaking Bad, but I'm sure there were other great shows at that time. So Australian Survivor was on there. So ever since then, I really started digging reality show. And then a couple of months ago, even before Australian Survivor, Keemstar, who you might know, like a big YouTube star from back in the day, he had Drama Alert. Not a great person, but he started his own YouTube, or he did it a year ago, really. He started his own YouTube, what's the word? Empire, I want to say, maybe kind of like Last Stand. So he has a bunch of shows, but what he does is he has a bunch of shows that he just puts idiots on them, like known idiots. Like I don't want to disrespect the guy, but someone like Boogie, for instance, someone like a YouTube famous guy who faked cancer, fell off. Everybody hates him.
Didn't Jaffe do one of these shows?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, he did, which was incredible. So he also put Jaffe in one of those shows, but Jaffe kept being Jaffe, which was amazing to watch because all those other people were trying to make it, but Jaffe, of course, has already made it. Like he has plenty of money. He made great games. He's already established. So he didn't care about all the drama going on in there. So all those people kept fighting with each other and kept causing drama with other shows. But Jaffe didn't do that. Jaffe just did his show, which was a great show. He's still doing it on his own channel now. Fantastic show.
Yeah, him getting fired by Keemstar is like one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. Like, just absolutely fucking classic, Jaffe. Like one of the most. It's classic. It's totally classic. Love it.
Yeah,
Love him.
It was amazing. So yeah, a couple of weeks ago, Jaffe had people call into the show. And one of the people who called in was saying some bad stuff about Keemstar's girlfriend, so that Keemstar joined the show and basically fired Jaffe live on air. But Jaffe didn't care.
No,
just didn't care at all, which made it extra funny. So my answer would partially be reality TV, because throughout my entire childhood and after that, I really hated reality TV because I knew it was all fake. And Local Live is fake too, and I know Survivor is fake too. But the casting in both those things is so genius that it's so much fun. I know half of the stuff is scripted, especially on Local Live, but it's just so much fun to watch because these people bring it so convincingly and so with so much conviction that it makes it fun to watch. It's great TV. It's a genius concept. I can't believe nobody else has done this on YouTube before. It's genius, and it's working, or it was working great too, because you had Boogie, you had Wings of Redemption, another fallen hero. So genius. Keemstar, he has a very bad reputation, but behind the scenes, apparently he's very good. He's very nice to people. So genius move, I think, as a TV person. Great stuff.
Doesn't Chris know him? We should ask Chris.
Yeah, I think Chris might know him. Yeah, I've never. Maybe.
Well, I think they're enemies.
Oh, they're enemies.
Okay. I know Keemstar.
That's even funnier.
I know Keemstar is not a fan of Chris.
Oh, really? I wonder why.
It's because Chris came after him all those years ago. 2016, Chris was friends with another fallen YouTuber. What's his name? IDubbbz, of course. And IDubbbz came after.
Really? Shit.
And IDubbbz came after Keemstar very hard. So then they had like kind of their little war. And then, because he mentioned Chris a couple of weeks ago in regards to, what was that boxing thing that
Creator Clash? Yeah.
And apparently IDubbbz that's the rumor, of course, but it's, who knows? It's internet drama. But the rumor is that IDubbbz's current wife really wants to be with Chris in reality. So
that rules. I tried it. I am so happy that I've largely, except for like all the event of me leaving Kind of Funny, which caused a lot of drama, obviously. Like I don't like drama. Ugh. Like, I don't want to have like this interscene fucking conflict with people. There are people I hate, people I don't like. Like, I don't really need to verbalize it or have like an active have it play an active part of my life. Just don't really understand the constant feuding. And I know some people do it for attention. Some of it's a put on, but
I don't think I've ever been more disappointed than when I saw the internet YouTube lawyers eating their own in some of the stuff that I was involved in, especially in 2022.
With the Amber Heard stuff.
Yeah, they're just people that definitely go and feed on drama and try to make people look bad who really don't have any interest in getting involved in the drama themselves. But the drama definitely does sell, right? People click on that kind of stuff. And so I understand how you get there. One of the things I've said with my channel is that you can see the various ways that you can quote unquote sell out and you can get the views and the clicks and whatever. And I've always tried to not do that. I don't want to add to the outrage and fire online. But I've never been more disappointed than by the people that have bar licenses that are ostensibly supposed to be sober-minded and looking at things from a reasonable point of view, saying, a 10-second clip of Hoeg who said something that wasn't entirely in support of this other guy must mean that he secretly hated him and organized these other things, and we're going to have subreddits and posts and all this crap about it. And it's like, I hate all of this. These are the times when I say, what am I even doing? Why am I participating in conversations like this? And like, I'm still here because I don't want those kinds of pushes and voices to win. But there are certainly days that kind of drama can make you absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I try to just not. Sure. I think a lot of it can just. How do I put this? It's like over time, I've realized a lot of people have one-sided drama with me. People I don't even really know.
Mm-hmm.
And content creators and everything. And it's like, I do feel like if you don't even acknowledge it, like it's hard not to acknowledge it. Every once in a while I break down and acknowledge it. If I know, I've said this before, like it's a math equation. If someone says something to me and they're of some prominence and I know I can dunk on them back, like I don't start it, but if I know I can get them, I'll do it with like no repercussions. But if there's like a 10% chance it blows up in me or this might not do well, then it's like, just don't say anything. So it's not like I don't fall down that pit every once in a while, but I have tried to grow a greater discipline over time of doing this for many years where like, if you just don't acknowledge it, you kind of just remove most of the oxygen from it anyway.
It's definitely true. It definitely goes away. The problem that I found myself in is in groups where you're working with other people, where you were doing collaborations or what have you. Like you can't control everybody. You can tell everybody to not give it oxygen. And then sometimes you're still dragged in because other people want to say things, they want to respond, whatever.
Sure.
And I just think it's a shame that even from the ostensible professional classes out there, the lawyers, you see this sometimes even with like doctor YouTube and nurse YouTubes and all these other things that are happening, that even with those kinds of jobs and careers and ostensibly sober-minded adults, you get into this because it does drive a lot of clicks when people get into these feuds and beefs and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I wish it weren't the case.
Yeah, it's well said. Because I just feel like, what's something that what's a good example? Oh, like, so the Helldivers coming to Xbox. People are circulating this clip of me.
I saw you floating around.
Yeah, but if you click on the clip, this is the funny part. Like, so if you listen to the video, I literally say in the video, I don't think this makes any sense and I don't believe that they would do it, but I'd actually like to see it happen. I think it would be pretty interesting and we would finally know how these things would perform, something like that. And like, what I've realized is with that sort of thing, like there is no fighting against it. You feed it, like, no one's even listening to what was said. It's a game. Right. And it's like a one-upsmanship about like attacking the person in the PlayStation ecosystem probably most bullish about bringing games to other platforms, actually. Like pretty easily, I would say, to the point where a lot of the audience gets annoyed by it. So if the playing field is uneven and you're not going to be able to even it out because these people don't want to watch, they don't want to read, they don't care, they just want to win, then I've been better about sifting through that. So I just don't even bother. And then people who, no one that listens to the thing I've realized over time, and I had to really learn this, is like, no one that earnestly listens to the shows could possibly believe any of this or know that. So it's like, you can't, and they don't, because it doesn't square. So you have to just, and I'm saying you, but I have to show increasing levels of resistance towards being the way, like when I was at IGN, I was way crazier towards people than I was at Kind of Funny, and then I became today, because I really took people's like I took criticism to heart a lot of the times, and then eventually you get better at it, and it's fine. And I just feel like it's you don't want to put too fine of a point on it, but it's kind of sad if your content revolves around what other people say. That to me is the strangest thing. Like, I don't give a fuck what anyone else says about games in terms of my own coverage. Otherwise, what is the point of me saying something?
Yeah, my only value is in my opinion.
Right. If it's calibrated through like some other lens, then it's not really me. So anyway.
But the beautiful thing about Locale, or about what Keemstar created there, is that that's the whole purpose of the thing. And the people involved in it know that it is.
Yeah.
So he explicitly hired those people to fight with each other, and explicitly made the rule that they can't fight outside of the universe. So they call it the Locale universe. But as soon as those people get outside of the universe and pick fights with other people, they're gone. They get fired, or they're just gone. So it's basically online wrestling, online YouTube drama wrestling, which is, I think it's a genius move, because it makes so much money, dude. The super chats and the live, they live stream every day. So many people donate, and of course, people donate to tell them that they're shit. That's what people do. So all those comments that you get right now from your Helldivers thing, people would just super chat that and give them $20. Like, you're an idiot. You said Helldivers would never come to Xbox, but meanwhile, you get $20 off of them. So who's the real idiot then? So it's such a genius. I think it's a genius move. I think it's a great move. That doesn't mean that they're good people or that it's quality content, because it's not. It's terrible. It's bad. It's awful. But it's gonna happen anyway. So you might as well monetize it, which is what they did. So
yeah, I'm sympathetic to, if this is how people want to be entertained, you might as well do it in a controlled environment.
Yeah,
I am.
But yeah, so reality TV would be my answer, but I have a smaller other answer, and that would be musicals. When I was a kid, my entire life basically, musicals were always for what? It was a different time back then. So musicals were for girls. I mean, you weren't supposed to like musicals as a boy when I grew up. So I didn't really care about musicals. I never watched any. But then in 2001, Moulin Rouge came out, and I loved that movie. I thought that was so cool that they modified current music to like this old school musical. I thought that was so cool. I thought that was so riveting. So ever since then, I've watched every single musical. I watched Wicked last year. Let me say, I love musicals. I also love watching them live. I saw Spamalot in 2008. One of the most wonderful experiences I've ever had. So I think, musicals can be so cool. At least I think so. But
I think it's a great answer. I'm surprised I didn't think of it myself because I love musicals. I guess I don't think of them as demographically aimed anymore because I watch them so often. But you're exactly right. It is definitely coded in a direction that isn't necessarily 40-something male that's otherwise playing video games and talking online. But I love a musical. I firmly believe in musicals being able to hit a level of emotionality that you can't necessarily do with just the spoken word. Yeah. And I think it's such a great answer. So I think that's everybody. So before Colin asks me, yes, I am satisfied.
Okay. Well, fair enough. Beat me to the punch. We know how this goes by now.
I do have one more question.
Sure.
To you, Colin, because you said you like those period pieces. Is that because they're like low stress, or do you like them because they're period pieces?
I like them because they're period. I like accurately, attentively, historically done period pieces. I think that they're incredible views. There are like unprecedented views into the past that you would never be able to get 100 years ago or more. It's some of them are inattentive and wrong and they get things wrong or whatever. But like the more things go on and the more accurately things are done. Like I brought it up earlier, like John Adams on HBO is extraordinary. How good it is based on the David McCullough book, and how accurate it is in the flags and the little lapels and like all the little things that they get perfectly right for the place and the time and the outfits. And I love that shit, man. The costuming is awesome. The music, it's not really possible to do. Like there are very few things that use natural lighting, but like when natural lighting is used. So it's not really, it is a period piece, but it's a horror movie. It's like The Witch is a really great example of something where it's like, this is fucking dope. Everything about this is dope. The setting is dope, that there's not a fucking artificial electric light shining on any of these sets ever is crazy. Great. It's crazy. So yeah, that's why I like it. And then, you know, sometimes the historical stories and the fun things like The Patriot is kind of like, I love that movie. Dagan, I love that movie. That movie rules. Great movie. And that's not really
through and through.
It's not like the most historical document, you know, but it's fun. So you can get a little bit of everything out of it, I think.
Yeah. Well, what about Peaky Blinders? Have you ever seen Peaky Blinders?
I haven't yet. No, my dad's been recommending that to me for years. Yeah, I got to get into that at some point. Dude, I am so far behind on TV and film. I don't watch almost anything. I really don't. Like movies, virtually nothing. TV shows, precious little at this point. I used to really.
That's like me.
Yeah, I would typically have a TV show going on, you know, at night or something. But I've been playing more games than ever. I'm getting plenty of satisfaction out of literally just video games, reading,
YouTube,
and
same.
YouTube. Yep.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so I just don't even really need linear TV anymore. Although I do, like, it's fun to have when I get it. Like I'll get Netflix when the NFL comes back because there'll be some games on there or whatever, and then I'll probably peruse it for a month or two, and I'll be like, "Oh, this is fucking dope." And then I'll just.
Colin, what's the? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
I was gonna say, what's the worst period piece thing you've seen? Maybe from like a historical standpoint.
Oh God, I mean, there's a lot of like
Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, that's a great example. Dude, my dad and I used to have a tradition. I don't know why. Like, I think he did this like after my parents got divorced, and it was like just a fun thing we would do. Like on a Friday, my dad would take me out of school like on a fairly regular basis, like once a month to go see a movie. And like I would go in on a Friday and then have to go to the doctor's at like 11:30. And then we would see like a movie, like, you know, I saw so many movies in the theater with him, and Pearl Harbor was one of those movies. And that came out when I think I was either a junior or a senior in high school. And we went and saw it, not really knowing it. And then we were like halfway through, like, what the fuck is this? Like, what is this strange movie? I don't know. I'd really have to think about the historical, like The Last Samurai. Wasn't that the Tom Cruise one? Oh, yeah. Probably a little ahistoric. Okay. That stuff can be fun too. So I don't want to demean it, but
sure,
not necessarily. Sometimes I'm watching things for historical accuracy, Band of Brothers or some Spielberg shit. But then there are other things you're watching for other reasons,
right?
And those are that's the Julian Fellows stuff I'm talking about, the Gilded Age, the the fiction surrounded by nonfiction. That's fun to me.
Mm-hmm.
Now I want to go watch season 2 of The Gilded Age again so I can get up to speed.
Yeah, I'm excited, dude. I'm excited to see. I love that show. That show's awesome. It's not as good as Downton Abbey, but it's great. And
it's not. It's close though.
Yeah, it is close. It is close, and it's arguably a better setting. So I'm down with it. Although I love the setting in Downton as well, and I'm gonna be so fucking devastated.
Did you see the new trailer that starts with like it's time to say goodbye?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. How do you think it's gonna end? Do you think that? I always felt like Downton was gonna end with them losing everything. It seemed like it was all leading to that, right? But it seems like they kind of have walked that back a little bit.
My guess is Lady Mary takes over as the head of the family and the estate continues, but I don't know.
Because it always seemed like it could go into World War. Like the way I always saw it was like it would get to World War II and things would really be falling apart because their way of life is truly over at that point. And maybe it would be like, 1938, 1939, and they kind of pull the plug on. But they're not going to get that far in the timeline. So
they're not, I don't think. The truth is, I don't know. I don't know if you can end it satisfyingly. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want bad things to happen to the Crawleys. God bless them.
That's exactly what my wife said. It's like, all right, it's good that there's another movie, but what are they going to go through?
I was devastated enough when Edith died. Or not Edith, Sybil died. I couldn't. I just couldn't.
My daughter was angry at us for introducing her to the show. She had connected with Sybil.
Yeah.
Sorry, spoilers. Downton Abbey, a little old.
I had a little crush on Sybil. To be honest with you.
I haven't seen any of the movies. I've only seen the show. But is Maggie Smith still in it? Because she died.
They kill her in the last movie. Yeah. These are spoilers. I guess I'll make note.
What's funny is that they kill her in like 3 different spots in case she dies. Oh. Like they were ready in case Maggie Smith was no longer with us.
Right.
So you have a number of scenes where it's like goodbye to Maggie Smith, but it's real now.
Yeah. Then they finally wrap it up. Yeah. So that was a major part of the last movie, sadly. And her character in that is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Love it. One of the great characters in that show. She's fucking hysterical in that show.
So yeah, folks, go watch K-pop Demon Hunters and Downton Abbey. Yeah. Have yourself a day.
Yeah, enjoy. Happy Independence Day to you.
Go blow some shit up. But be careful.
All right, let's get out of here. This was a great episode. Appreciate you guys taking the time on 4th of July to talk to me. I hope you enjoy. So let's go around the horn. Brad, do you have any plans for today?
Dude, barbecue.
Yeah, barbecue.
Hot dogs and burgers.
Right, definitely.
Very excited for later.
Love that.
Hell yeah.
There's nothing better than just a cheese, like a normal cheesburger on a grill with just a piece of American cheese on it.
It's 4th of July, baby. You got to do it.
On a Martin's potato roll. Come on.
It's going to be great.
Hoeg, what are you up to for the rest of the day?
I have very similar plans. I believe when this taping is concluded, my wife is making burgers and we've got a strawberry shortcake ready, which is always my request for 4th of July.
Exciting. Nice. All right, we'll have fun. And it's just a Friday for you, Locke, but enjoy.
Yeah, my favorite part about the 4th of July is that it's the 4th of July for everybody.
Yeah, right.
Whether you choose to celebrate is on you.
Right. That's true.
I'm just going to go downstairs and watch Australian Survivor and pretend I have a life.
All right. Well, that's fun. Good for you. Enjoy yourself.
I'm going to check this out. It sounded crazy. I want to see the Lord of the Flies Survivor.
Oh, you do? Yeah. I can't recommend it enough. It's amazing. I'll send you the right season if you want to, because it's impossible to find online almost, but I can hook you up.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Ooh. I really will watch it.
Awesome. Black market dealer. I like it.
And how is your health, by the way, Locke? You feeling good?
Yeah, it's way better, dude. I haven't smoked since the last time we talked, so
great, good for you.
My health is way better. I'm very anxious constantly now, so I have to find a way to solve
exercise, dude.
Oh, yeah, I know.
It really does work. Exercise really is a solvent for all sorts of like sleeplessness. It really does. It's frustrating because I hate it, but I do it every day because it does work. But I don't look forward to it. I'm not one of these guys that's like I'm fucking amped up to go do an hour on the elliptical. It's like the worst hour of my day, but it's worth. You feel good afterwards. You sleep better and all that. So I'd give it a go if you can. But
yeah, I will as soon as it's colder outside.
Yeah, it's still hot. I was interviewing someone in the Netherlands that's going to be on Sacred Plus soon. And
Reese,
right? Yeah. And he didn't have
yeah.
AC, and it was like almost 100 degrees. And I'm like, I don't know what you guys are doing. Like, just get fucking air conditioning. Like, I don't understand what's going on.
That's literally the reason. I told you this.
Yeah,
before.
that's
literally
AC.
the reason why. Yeah, that's why I moved in there.
It's huge. I just can't believe that people are just raw dogging that. I'd fucking die. I would be dead.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I appreciate you. Happy 4th. Everyone's going to see this well after 4th of July, but I hope you, for our American listeners, did have a great 4th of July. Safe, kept all your fingers, all your limbs.
Country should still be here by the time you see this.
Yeah, we're too lazy to rebel at this point, I think. But it was good to talk to you guys. I appreciate you. Be well. Have a good rest of your day. Good weekend. Have a good week to everyone out there. Appreciate you. Thank you for your love, kindness, and support. Patreon.com/lastdaymedia for early ad-free access. Lastdaymedia.store for merch. We'll see you next time. Until then, goodbye. Constellation is a product of Last Stand Media and Colin's Last Stand LLC and is proudly recorded in the USA. The show was conceived by and is directed and hosted by me, Colin Moriarty. My co-host is my brother, Dagan Moriarty. The show is produced by Last Stand's executive producer, Dustin Furman. All Last Stand theme music is by Ramon Narvaez, and all of our graphics and logos are by Dagan Moriarty. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's podcasts, including Constellation, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer level on Patreon, our highest support tier, and we're infinitely grateful for your thoughtful and kind contributions to our independent endeavor.